It's the When Fishing Podcast. Applying techniques.
Then I put the C rigs on the A rigs.
Bringing fresh ideas.
They can't all be good ones.
Talking stories.
Yo.
Reports.
About 5 knots out of the wind.
Conservation.
You're probably too close.
All to make you and I better fishermen. Hey, howdy. Hey there, neighbor. Hey there, Tim. I got 2 reports for you, and I got some other shit. So, rewinding back to the last couple trips, I wanted to take a look at the horseshoe bite. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but if you have, there's been a lot of sand bass being picked off of the horseshoe off of San Pedro, Long Beach area. Like the Newport landings and the Long Beach landings have been getting a lot of good quality sand bass, and my technologies have and the fish have kind of changed everything for me. Where I was doing pretty good on my own for a while, finding my own bites in kind of weird nooks and crannies, but I started to flail quite a bit, and so I wanted to take a gander at that. And so I recently picked up a Mercury 6 horsepower outboard. I think I've been through that. I don't know, it happened, and so I needed to do some rundowns with it, make sure that I wouldn't get fucked with it for lack of maintenance. You know, you got to update everything yourself. That's the best insurance policy, I suppose. And so as soon as I got it, I did I did an oil change, and I did the lower unit gear case oil, the gear case lube or whatever the fuck. I did that. I haven't done the impeller yet, but I did. I changed out the propeller from an aluminum to a stainless steel, so I was checking that out. And then I was doing, what else did I do? I did I got like the high pressure lube gun to lube the what do you call it? Just, you know, when you're turning the outboard on the tiller, like, you know, and when it sways. You know, I'm a mechanic, trust me. It's yeah, that stuff. There's little lubrication nipples, and so I applied that because it's been like just kind of bleeding out a lot of dirty grease, and so I was like, I don't know, that's a lot of grease that's come out so far. So let's make sure there's some fresh stuff coming in and get the rest of that dirty stuff out. So I did that, and it's still kind of bleeding out the fresh grease. So I don't know if it needs a new, what do you call it? Like if there's like a rubber gasket that I should replace so that it's like it doesn't bleed out so easily. I feel like that might be a thing, but it's performing fine as it is. And yeah, so I also got a new fish finder. I had a, what do you call it? It was a Garmin Striker. It's like baby's first fish finder, and it's like a real fish finder. It's not like one of those that shows the little like Jesus fish icon on the sonar. It does, you know, it shows as legitimate of a sonar reading as any, but it's just small. It's like it's like the size of like a sort of a large. It's like a 4-inch. I think it's a 4-inch display, and it displays, you know, like a phone, like vertically rather than like horizontally. So that one crapped out. I don't know what happened. I'm sure it's taken on a lot of water damage over the years. I've had it for like 3 or 4 years. So, and just the worst. It's yeah, a lot of water damage. So, rest in peace. Moment of silence for that one. And then I got a Garmin UHD 64CV. I found it on Amazon for like $250, which is a steal as far as I'm concerned. a lot of other places, like I couldn't find it for less than 300 on eBay and stuff like that. So it's just one of those weird things where I think there was a sale somewhere, and then like Amazon matched the price. That's what I'm assuming. I think I saw that somewhere. So I got that all rigged up, all wired, and got it to turn on like the Garmin Striker. And I thought the 64 CV had, so what, yeah, I thought it had a Navionics compatibility, but it turns out I gotta go to the next one. The next one's like $600 or something like that for the same size. So I'm just gonna stick with the Navionics on my phone, which is it's definitely way better than nothing. But I was really hoping that I would be able to just put my phone away and not get it wet all the fucking time like I do. It's in a waterproof case, but even still, like then you eventually your phone gets wet or you get a little fish slime on it, and then like you're trying to like move navigate on the map, and you can't, or it like tries to it starts like hitting ghost buttons and stuff like that, if you know what I mean. Where like you like try to slide it and then it goes, "Oh, you want to navigate? Okay, we're going to start navigating," and like blah blah blah. "Oh, you want to like mark this spot?" It's like, "No, I didn't even my finger wasn't anywhere near that button, so please fuck off." So yeah, I still got to deal with that. But whatever. But the 64 CV does have the it does have a real map on it, installed on it. I think it's like Blue Lake or Blue Maps or some bullshit like that. I'm not terribly interested in it. It's not as precise as the relief maps on Navionics, but it's better. It's actually, it does have context on the map. It has like contours and stuff like that, while the Garmin Striker was just like a white blank space, so you were just like navigating through the void, and which is not fun, not cool. It's like, oh, I'm in fog, like IRL and in my GPS. That's really fucking helpful. So yeah, that's so it's an upgrade. It's an upgrade. It's bigger. It's super nice to have that bigger screen. I didn't real like I kind of knew it was gonna like hit me over the head. Like, wow, this is real nice. But then as soon as I get out there, it's like it did not fall short of expectations. Just nice big screen. And so yeah, I think I'm still not really gonna like split screen the map unless I don't know, in fog or something like that, and my phone's dead. But yeah, so one day I'll get a fish finder that does the fucking Navionics. But in the meantime, I'm happy with what I got. So I tested that on this on this first trip that I'm getting back to now. So I went out to the Horseshoe. I wanted to test out the fish finder, and I wanted to test out the stainless steel prop. I was going like pretty much straight into like foot to 1 to 2 foot chop, wind chop, like all the way out to the Horseshoe. And so I was going a solid like 12, 13, which is pretty good in chop, which is really good in chop on my boat. My little dumb inflatable. It's a smart inflatable, and it's yeah. So the I can't get a good feel on what the top end speed on the SS prop was based on that, but I was happy with how I was getting out there. And then yeah, and then the fish finder was marking shit. I found some good stuff. Horseshoe is a very wide general area. There's a lot of fairly large rock outcroppings and stones and buried treasure. And so there's I popped up on my first one, saw the bass as advertised. They were from the bottom all the way up, like I think it was like 70 feet of water, and they were all the way up to like 30 foot or something like that. So they were just up and down the water column doing their different things. So yeah, but none of them would bite. That was a problem. So I dropped down like irons on them. I dropped down swim baits on them. I dropped down flukes on them. Nothing was really happening. So then I moved over to the next stone, and same deal. Like plenty of fish, but none wanted to eat. And then on my way to my third stone, all of a sudden I lost my engine sputtered at full speed, and I was like, what the fuck is that? So it sounded like a fuel issue because it was still like doing okay at idle, but like it didn't want to go past idle. So I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, at this point, I was like 9 miles away from the harbor. And so I couldn't figure it out in that moment. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll be bounce balling all the way back to the harbor at like 2.5 miles an hour. And so I did that. And I was, sort of miserable. And I was trying to figure out what the issue could be. And then 2 hours later, I was like half mile outside of the harbor, and I was like, all right, like I have less to lose right here than I did way back there, so let's try a few extra things. So I started taking a video so that I could show my mechanic. And when you take a video of something mechanical, 2/3 of the time, this is a rule for me, 2/3 of the time it magically disappears. And so I take a video with the cowling on, and I'm like, look, like, I don't know what the fuck, but like, see that? It's at idle, it's fine. See it? Like, go past idle, dies. And then like I pause the video and I take the cowling off, and I'm like, I start it, and I'm like, all right, I start pointing at different stuff. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't see like a fuel leak. Everything seems secure, and like, carburetor doesn't look stupid. Like, I don't know what the fuck. And then I just I throw it into full throttle, and then it goes, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm glad that it's working, but it's like I just spent like, I just that kind of ruined my day. And and then like then it was doing this weird thing where I think I just put the cowling back on kind of funky, where it was like chafing against the something on the carb, where like I would drop it down to idle, and then it would stay at like 2,000 RPMs, and then it would drop down to 500, 700 or whatever. And then once I put the cowling on back on like right, it was dropping down as it should with no delay. So then I was like, all right, it was like 11 a.m. and the primo tide had passed, and like it had been like a real light white caps all morning, so it didn't really matter to me. I wanted to run it. I just wanted to keep running the outboard to see if I could recreate the problem and if I could solve it again, if so. And so I ran down the opposite way. Instead of the horseshoe, I went down towards like HB Flats and poked around there. Couldn't find jack shit. And the bite that I had found, I was able to do really well for the first half of the year on the HB Flats, just like kind of puddling around from stone to stone. Just three-way trolling, three-way rig, trolling swim baits and or crankbaits, and over the tops of them. And I caught hundreds of bass in the first half of the year. And then right a little after my old fish finder died, couple weeks after that bite died. So I couldn't figure out, like, are the fish gone or are they just not hungry? And then, so I ran back over those areas just to see, like, confirm if the fish were gone. And they were. Like, fucking, like, I'd never seen so few fish there at any point in the year. It was just dead. And so, that was a bummer. My pets, they ran away. So, what did I do from there? I think I went over to Iser's. And, I marked a lot of fish over there. And then I didn't get anything, and then I went home, and I got skunked. Can't believe it. Bass are supposed to be the easy thing, not the whatever. So, so I went home, and I had to learn how to fix my own carb. So, somebody put up a video of how to do all the maintenance on a 6 horsepower Mercury and or Tohatsu. It's on YouTube. It's like an hour long. It's very informative. Seems like it's the guy's first time, but he did a great job with it, and he didn't. I think he fucked one thing up. He fucked up the transmission rod at the end. It is finicky. I've done it before, and I fucked it up real bad. And so I sold my old Mercury because I didn't want to deal with that transmission rod again, the way that it was set up. Compared to, I've seen like videos of Yamahas that are way easier to deal with on that end, on the lower end. And yeah, so I got the inspiration. I did it. It's very easy. There's only like 3 or 4 things that you got to disconnect from the carburetor, and then just put it all in one piece into a bag and took it home and soaked it in carb cleaner overnight. And there's just a very fine layer of soot on the inside. Nothing crazy, nothing that seemed like it would get in the way that would kill the engine like it did. So maybe it passed through. I don't know, but yeah. So then I took it out again a couple days later. This time, um, like once again, you know, rest in peace, Joe DiNardo. Weatherman got it wrong, and Joe DiNardo would have got it right. And they, as soon as I get out of the harbor, it's like just I get stuffed with wind chop, and I'm like, all right. So I go over to Iser's. It's like, uh, the wind chop was on off my starboard, so it wasn't such a big deal. Instead of going to the horseshoe, I would have eaten it for like 8-9 miles, and it was a little bit worse than the last time. So I get to Iser's, and the marks are just not looking very like bass like. There's a lot of them, but it looks like whitefish to me. So then I drop down some squid, start getting a lot of bait stealers. End up pulling out a whitefish, and then switch over to the sabiki because I ended up catching a mackerel. And I want to load up on some more mackerel in case I want to go for threshers again or whatever. Mackerel for stick baits, mackerel for kite. We'll get into that. And so ended up with a fish count of something like 7 chub mackerel, 4 jack mackerel, 4 whitefish, 3 square spots, 2 senoritas, and a partridge and a pear tree. What's the last one? There was one more. What was the last one? Oh, a blacksmith. It was a good sized blacksmith. But yeah, it was that was not a bass day. I went out there for bass and I caught everything but. So sometimes it be like that, son. So yeah, I was only out there for like 3 hours or so, and the wind was already up and it kept coming up. So I bailed and took home and vacuum packed those mackerel. And yeah, so that's the trips. Yes. Next order of business, kites. Chris has inspired me to do unthinkable things from the inflatable once again. Shout out. He started making it work. He started pulling a kite. Made it look possible. So I went and splurged. I got a gift card for my birthday from my girlfriend. Thank you. To Charkbait, and I still had a lot of money on it, so I went and spent the rest of it on a Boston big game kite. And yeah, so I opened that up just yesterday, and I started looking at it, and it's just a fucking mess. It's like, oh, this is why I didn't want to kite fish, but no, it gets better. So yeah, there's just all this like white string that's going everywhere. It pulls from all like 4 corners, and then it comes down to 2 different spots. There's one where you connect it to your line, to your kite reel, and then there's like the bottom end, which is like the storage bag, which is also what can hold like a water bottle or whatever in order to like keep the kite from sailing too high. If you have like higher winds, it'll just go straight up, as I learned. And so yeah, I opened it up, looked at it. It's like, how am I going to rig this? I kept like, I've Googled how to rig a kite a couple times, and I never really saw how to actually rig the, I don't know. I guess I saw different things. So I just like, I was like, all right, let's figure it out how I want to do it. And so, there's like a loop, to connect your, the kite to the main line. So I just put like a cat's paw to a solid ring right there. And then I connected that to a snap swivel, I think. Did I do that? Or maybe I just tied it. I think I just tied it straight with a 60-pound mono. No, 80-pound mono. It doesn't really matter. There's only like, as far when I was using it, I don't think there was more than like 5 pounds of pressure at any given point. But yeah. So then I rigged it with 35 feet of 80-pound mono, and then on that I had a sliding um, like release clip doodad, um, and then in front of that I put a bead, and then an 80-pound swivel, really tiny little guy, and then I got a kite reel a while back, like a 1-to-1, um, like for like recreational kite, like kites not for fishing. Like you can get like a kite reel like that, and it has a stopper thing, and like an anti-reverse lock, and and it has a little one little like line guide, and I made sure that the swivel could pass through that. That's why I got the mini swivel. So I think the line is like it looks like it's like 50-pound Dacron or something like that. I could be wrong. I don't know, but yeah. So that's the whole kite rig for me. And so I went and tested that. Getting it off the ground at when you're just standing on the ground fucking sucks. That's why I've tried flying kites like 2 times in my childhood, and it was really fucking annoying. Which is why I never got into that. I don't know how big of a community the kite flyers is, but good on you for sticking with it, because it is fucking bullshit trying to get your kite off the ground in the first like 20, 30 feet. So uh yeah, so I got it off the ground. It's like, yay, okay, now let's clip on the flyer. And so I'm at the park, and my flyer's like dangling, and then dangling off the side of the kite, and I got it up, and then but then the flyer with the hook in the back was hooking the grass, and it was just a fucking. It's like, okay, I figured it out, but next time let's bring a hookless lure to test this. This is dumb. So yeah, I got the kite up. So now I'm gonna test it out. It seems like the bluefin are just like fucking MIA locally. Seems like they're all back to Tanner or something like that. So they might be. I don't know. I'm not hearing a whole lot about them. Sounds like pelagics in general in SoCal have like really gone MIA. You know what? I saw some report from the Santa Barbara landing that they found some foamers up in out of Santa Barbara. I'm not sure if it was coastal or like near the islands or out past the islands. I know that somebody mentioned in a report that they were looking for bluefin, and then they settled on the Jurassic Park area, which is, as far as I'm concerned, that's behind Santa Rosa. There's a big old flat for like at least 10 miles or more. That's like 200, 300 foot of water or more. It's fishable. It's definitely less than 400 foot, and it's just a lot of rocky bottom. There's just so much of it that there's plenty of room for rockfish to grow big and hardy, and a wild enough environment in that particular part of the SoCal Bight it gets pretty windy and not fishable a lot of times. So yeah, so bluefin were up there. So not down here though, as far as I know. They were for a good while, and I just I don't know. I missed it. My technologies were not being agreeable at the right time. It happens. So yeah. So I told you about my kite rig. So I think what I'm gonna do with the kite reel, as far as like securing it to the boat, like I'm not putting that in a rod holder. Obviously, it's just it's just a disc with a handle. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find like a giant carabiner or like just like a little section of rope or something where I can just like um like snap it down or tie it down like really fast and like not worry about it. And then uh yeah, and then maybe I could keep the middle section from being like the middle section is the handle. And so if I can like maybe if I could lock down the handle part and then the outside arbor, which is the real the spool, if I can keep that mobile, then like I can just keep it tied to the side of the boat, and then I can just like reel back and forth on it as need be. That'd be cool. That's a good idea. I like that. Let's put a pin in that one. And then what am I? Whoa, what are we flying? We're flying yummy flyers. I don't want to spend you know $30 on one dead flyer. It's just not my budget. I also don't want to spend $100 on a Nomad flyer or a whatever California flyer. I'm not sure. The big hard plastic ones. I can't afford that. I'm not going to swing that until maybe after I figure out how to get bites on the kite, then I can move forward with that. But there's a website or there's a manufacturer of yummy flyers in the Pacific Palisades, California. I think they were just Power Handle. What's their website? It's like something like just Power Handles, real power handles or something like that. And they happen to sell yummy flyers, and I was looking for the big ones because like the standard one is like 8 inches, and I wanted to see if I could get any bigger because like uh, you know the flyers that people really like flying are like 16 inches or whatever the hell. And so I found one. I found this seller, and they sell 10-inch yummies. I don't know if they're custom pour or what, but it was 3 for $10. So I ordered them and got them. They look good. I just rigged them up yesterday. I'll tell you how I rigged them up. I'm obviously not. This is my first time doing this, so this is not. You know, take it with a grain of salt. I basically followed. I think I might have done something a little different, but I basically followed Ali Husseini's video. You can find that on like the local knowledge YouTube. Um, I liked what he did, and the reason I liked what he did is because this is all very personal preference. I don't know if I'm going, from the little boat that I have. I don't know if I'm going to uh, want to like drag back like a fish over like 100 pounds back to the harbor because anything over, I think I'd say like anything over like 125 would probably not fit in the boat, and also would probably not all fit in my freezer and fridge. So I have to be like reasonable about that, and I also like the idea of going more into like a catch and release with tunas. Catch and release is pretty common with a lot of other game fish, and with tunas, it's very it's you know bloody up the decks. Let's kill them, and I get it; they taste good, but bluefin I don't really care for. I think I've gone over that. I'll keep some and see what I can do with it, but I'm not gonna catch it like I don't want to catch like a 175 pounder and in the first like couple bites go, oh, I didn't quite treat this right. This is going to be a pain to eat. So yeah. So that being said, the reason I like Ali Husseini's style is because he uses one hook and no treble. So I think it would be a lot easier to catch and release if you just have one single hook. So basically, I take that 10-inch yummy flyer. I took a 400-pound mono. I used Iserline first string. I know a lot of people talk about Jinkai. Use what you believe in with all your heart, and never look back. So yeah, so you're gonna. I took 6 to 8 feet of the mono. And I got crimps, the appropriate crimping tool, a 9/0. What is it? 7.5. 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 5. 7 91. Fuck. You know what I'm talking about. Is it 7591? I know this off the top of my head most days. It's the classic southern tuna hook. You know what I'm talking about? 7691. 7691 stainless steel. So I bought some like no name brand. They seem solid. They're stainless steel. They're sharp. See what happens with them. Um, and I got like 5 for $10 on eBay. And so I got that hook. I got crimps. I did the little twisty loopy knot. You know what I'm talking about? I'm a pro. So like put the line through the crimp, and then put it through the eye of the hook twice, and then twist around that loop. What is it, like 3 times, 4 times? 2, 3, 4. It looks nice and symmetrical, and then you pull it tight into like about the maybe a little narrower than the width of or the circumference of your thumb um, for the loop. And the reason I do that is because I don't want to buy like the fucking chafing tube and like among all these other things when I'm like when crimping mono. It's just like why do we gotta have like 9 products involved in like in just in the substitution of a knot when you go over like 100-pound test. Like I made a I tie direct up to 150, and then after that it's like okay, this is getting ridiculous. So yeah, I like the loop. I like that little twisty loop knot, as they call it, all over the world. Twisty loop knot. And so they uh so yeah, do that, put it back, then put it through the crimp. You can do your you can take your lightoid and heat up the end of the tag end, mushroom it, pat it down against the back of the lighter, and then that doesn't work quite as well, that whole mushroom thing, when you're doing the twisty loop knot, compared to if you're gonna do like the sleeve on the inside where you can just pull it all the way tight as you wanted, um, because yeah, you need some room to play around with to tie that loop knot correctly. And then by the time you're done with that, you're gonna have a tag end sticking out the end of the crimp on the other side. It's probably gonna be like an inch or two, and then you don't want to heat up and compromise the strength of the main line while you're trying to mushroom the tag end. So I mushroomed the tag end and I just left it like an inch long. And so the next the thing that I should mention is that like Ali Husseini did, I drilled holes in from like the center of the back of the Yummy Flyer's tail, like in between the two fins. Um, I drilled a hole with like a 1/16 or 3/16 inch drill bit, like diagonal up at like a 30-degree angle up towards the back, and then I put the hook through that. I threaded it through so that the hook is the point is facing up, and it's threaded through the back end of the tail, and the eye is sitting like on top of the back of the on top of the back. And then I drill another hole, like that's like a 45-degree angle, from where from like the so there's a little like through hole through the nose into the belly of the Yummy Flyer. And so what I did was I drilled like a 45-degree angle hole from the back into that through hole, and then I would like bend the Yummy's back, like I guess bend its butt forward, so that it's like kind of crouching, and then you thread the 400-pound line through the nose, and then it pops out the back instead of out the belly. There's that little belly cavity. You're going to circumnavigate that, go out the back, and then you're gonna apply the crimp, and then you're going to um, create. You're gonna secure the hook to that and crimp it and all that stuff. So then the eye of the hook and the crimp and the knot are all sitting like in the midsection of the back, and to me it looks pretty clean. I did the first one I did. I posted my first like two up on my Instagram story. The first one looked a little bit shitty. I made the knot a little bit too big, and so it looked like it was like in line with the hook point, and so I wasn't sure if I kind of felt like that would impede on the hook point's ability to actually set. So I redid it, and I actually ended up redoing doing them 3 or 4 times on 3 separate lures, and now they look all right. I'm pretty happy with it, and I learned a couple ways not to do it. Can I share those if I can remember them? I know that I experimented one certain way that I was like, why not? Like, if I'm gonna fuck up, let's do it all in the first time I do this. Also, I cut so the Yummy Flyer's tail, the lower side is like 1.5 inches long, 2 inches long. It's longer, and the higher side of the tail fin is shorter. I cut the top tail fin back because it was like occupant wanting to occupy the same space as the hook shaft, and I just didn't see any real need for that. I can see how the lower tail fin is like a rudder and realistic, and like the fish are going to see the lower half of the bait, the upper half of the bait. Like I can do whatever too. That's where I have the hook eye and the crimp and all that stuff, and then that's where the top of the hook comes out. So if I cut the back of the tail's plastic back a little bit, I don't think that's too bad. What did I do? Because I really like fucked it up. And I was like, wow, I really thought that could work, and then it didn't. Damn, what did I do? I wish I archived that or something. What did I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, I'm gonna have for the rest of the rig there. I'm gonna set up that that 6 foot leader and that bait. I'm gonna attach it probably snap swivel or something like that, or maybe just direct braid to the swivel on the end of that thing. And I'm gonna put it on my Avit 50 narrow with 100 pound 8 strand braid, and fly it and see what happens. And I'll let you know when I do that. I'm not sure if any time in the near future will be a legitimately good time to do that, but that's a thing. Yeah, so that's all I really have to say about the kite. You know. Oh, I should just mention I really liked, so when I was researching the kite setup, one thing that I noticed was that you're gonna end up reading a lot of articles on kite fishing for sailfish, and which is exceptionally common and really productive. And something that they like to do is that they'll fly multiple baits from one kite, and so you'll find on the market a lot of the kite release mechanisms. There's like a little hook that there's either like a screw that you tighten down to keep it like as a tensioner, or there's a rubber band on the one that I have, or like a very hard rubber band, but a rubber band nonetheless. And so the one I got is a slider. You're gonna see a lot of ones that have like wire loops on either side, and I think those are for like the sailfish style. And I didn't really want to do that because then I would have like X yards of line hanging out as I'm trying to retrieve the kite. I didn't want to like it to be stopped. I wanted all the line all the way up to the kite to come back to the reel, and So I found one at Sharkbait that's a slider, and so you just like it'll stop either. Some people will put wax twine uh, on the main line, and the sliding. I guess there's you can get them in packs where the sliding kite releases will uh, like the holes in them will be uh, in varying sizes, so that like they'll all get stopped on different size swivels that you'll have put up and down the line, so that you have like I don't know how exactly it would work. It would be like um, I guess like smallest swivels closest to the kite, and then like that one would have the smallest hole, and then like the other ones would have like larger holes, and you'd have larger swivels, and so as each one goes out, uh, it would it would get taken away on the kite line by that swivel, and but yeah, it looked like there were some that were like fixed, and I'm not sure how people would deal with that. So uh, so I did not solve that issue. If that's an issue for people, I just went with the sliding one, and I'm only gonna run one, and it's gonna be you know just one small swivel with the bead, and yeah. So uh, yeah, I had some issues trying to like abstractly put the kite together. So I like how mine came out, how my whole setup came out, and I'll see how it works on the water. Maybe I'll need to switch out some things, um, but overall, on my first try of putting it all together, it came out pretty good. So I'm happy, and we'll see how it turns out in the future if I get bit or whatever. So there's all that. So what's the game plan? What's the fucking game plan? I'll tell you what the game plan is. I am probably gonna go out tomorrow morning, and I'm probably gonna go look for bass. I might. I mean, it's constantly changing. That's the problem. The forecast, that is. The swell looks fine. Tide looks all right. The wind is like bouncing around. It looks like it could be really glassy, like at sunrise. And on the other hand, it hasn't been all week, so I don't know if I can trust that. And then on top of that, the main concern here in Southern California is we got Hurricane Hillary coming. Whoa, a hurricane in Southern California. Now, it's not going to be a hurricane by the time it gets over here. It's going to get to the border and it's going to be like, whoa, 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 America. Whoa, not this place. I'm out. And so, yeah, it looks like it's going to die around San Quintin. That's what I saw um, yesterday as I was looking at it. Where is it now? It is. Um, it's like what, like 300 miles southwest. It's in the Revegados of down south of Cabo San Lucas, and it is flying right now. Um, Station about 100 miles away says they're getting 57-mile-an-hour wind. We're seeing like 70 to 80 mile an hour winds right now out of it. It's going to move pretty quick over the next couple days. Um, let's see where we going. So yeah, it's fucking riveting podcasting right here. Yeah, from like noon on Saturday to like the night, it's gonna move quite a bit, and then through Sunday morning into the day, it's gonna move up to. It's gonna hit what do you call it? Cedros Island um, at about 7 a.m. on Sunday, and it's still gonna have quite a bit of speed. What's going on over there? And then it's gonna hit like, yeah, it's gonna get all the way up to the border by the night, but by the time it gets to the border, it's gonna be a pretty pathetic little storm. if you can even call it that. I don't know what the hell happens to it's weird. Why does it do that? I don't know. Well, I'm no meteorologist. Um, but yeah, it's gonna drive up some warm wind and rain though into SoCal, regardless of, even though we're not gonna actually get like, we're just gonna get the aftermath of it. So that's what that is. Sorry, sorry if, you know, I'm no Joe DiNardo, but well, I was seeing some like flash flood warnings of like several 4 to 8 inches or something for Baja, and I'm looking at this right here for California. It looks like we might get like an inch or something like that. We're gonna get upwards of 30-mile-an-hour winds. Unusual, but um, not too crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's still gonna be fishable Saturday morning. Sunday, even Sunday morning, I feel like you could get out. Nope, never mind. Don't do that. uh, yeah, it's just gonna be windy as all. The swell won't be too bad. I saw at one point it was projecting like 8 foot swells for Sunday night or Monday or something. But yeah, it's not looking good. So yeah, um, I'm gonna do a what do you call it? I'm gonna do a webinar with the Windy app, not windy.com, but with the Windy app. I'm gonna do a webinar with them. I use them for my forecasting on this podcast and in general, and I've been using them for several years, I believe. And the thing I like about them is their interface is just really nice, and something that people should consider about it is that they have multiple wind models that you can compare in one place. It's 8 models, and they all come. Their data is each compiled in slightly different ways. Like I was reading about it. I'm not going to give you a good synopsis right now. Maybe I should cut this now and bring up some synopses for why you would choose one over the next. I've been using the GFS 27 model, and it's been relatively accurate for the longest time. Um, I just recently heard the NAM is a really good local forecast for the Americas, and the one that is used around the world. Which is the one that's used around the world? I think it's like the ECMWF. I think. Um, uh, like it's a very generalized one, and it doesn't take into account elevation changes. And so when you're in SoCal, you're going to have elevation changes that affect the ocean conditions regarding the Channel Islands and regarding a couple major points. I would consider those points to be like Point Conception, Point Doom, um, Palos Verdes / Point Furman, um, and then all the islands will create either um, calm spots or like extra strong spots depending on what's going on. But yeah, I really like the Windy app because they have that model. Everything else has been pretty accurate for me for the longest time. It's really easy to look at. And if you're into the lunar charts, they got that, which is like the little like, is it a good time to fish today? Well, like it's either like poor, fair, good, or excellent. It's I think that lunar chart is entirely uh, comprised of basically like lunar. Uh, it's just like a different form of reading the lunar chart where like if you're in a half moon you're just going to have like poor fishing. If you're on a full moon and like within like 3-4 days of the full moon you're going to have excellent fishing. And then I'm not exactly sure how it decides like what the difference between good, fair, and poor is. But sometimes it's nice to look at that and go, "Oh, there's it's supposed to be excellent today. Fuck it, let's go." Or like you see that it's bone dead, poor fishing, and you go, "I want to prove that shit wrong. Fuck you." So it's available to you. You don't have to have it. You can customize this shit. But yeah. So I just read about the NAM one and how it's like fairly localized and exceptionally accurate, but it's also only goes out 72 hours in advance, which I really like to start tentatively planning my trips like a week in advance, especially like with like um uh this little segment on the podcast where like I'd say what the game plan is. Uh it really has become like the point where I look at the weather for the week and go, "Oh, yeah. Like let's do Monday and Thursday, or let's do Saturday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever the fuck." So, so the NAM is kind of like it's cramping my style here with that because it's only going out to Sunday night, and then I'm trying to like tell you about it, and then I'm just run into a wall. So I gotta do something about that. I gotta change that out for the sake of this, I suppose, and then just use the NAM model. Just look at it in the little comparison chart. Um, oh, but yeah. So actually, let's fucking customize that right now. Let's cut these out. Get back over to GFS. Yeah. So GFS is telling me that tomorrow morning is still probably going to be a little bit choppy in the morning, about 5 mile an hour winds through the night and into sunrise, and gets into 10 knot winds in the afternoon, and then Sunday is absolutely fucked. Monday is absolutely fucked. Um, and we're just gonna have another one of those weeks. It looks like where it's just like a little bit windy in the morning, just enough to kind of like fuck with you in your if you're in a small boat. Um, but not so bad that like it's gonna turn you around. So whatever you want to do out there. The bass, like I said, I don't know what happened with the bass. I think I heard there's some still at the horseshoe, but like at Isers that day, it was not happening, and like the cattle boats that were around also looked like they were not doing well. I didn't see any bass caught by anybody when I was out there. Um, I imagine there's still got to be like a lot around somewhere, whether they're just hugging the bottom real tight or something, or if or if that was just a bad day for them and they'll come back up. I would guess that the horseshoe is probably a good place to go. Offshore, it didn't. I heard that it was very dead. If you're looking like uh, outside of like Long Beach or Newport down to Dana Point or whatever, like 209, 267, 14, not looking very good. Go out there and take a look for yourself and tell me what happens. And yeah. Windy app webinar August 24th. Go check that out. Um, yeah, they have a website landing page for you to learn more about. If you don't have the app, you should get it. You'll learn about it, learn why it's the superior one for weather as an outdoorsman, and yeah. Otherwise, good luck. Be safe.